Right, so same thing that I talked about in the other pattern. This can be structured better. I'm obviously not going to show you again the same exact thing, so useful technique. Just to fill in the rhythm. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, so this is an ideal part to talk about transitioning between tracks. So the singer, I'm guessing, is what this is going with. Doesn't have any notes here. Her last note is here, and then this is all just a held note. But if you don't have circles here, or you don't have any clickable objects there, then what happens is that you get a little less engaged in the music. You kind of have to take this pause, and it's kind of like dead air. Like the player could be doing something here, could be getting enjoyment here, but isn't. That's not to say that taking rests are always bad. Sometimes that rest is accomplishing a purpose. But in this case, I don't think it's true. I think the rest is not accomplishing enough. So the intuitive fix is to go with the singer and just like make a really long slider. And that's an option, but I think there are other avenues that you can explore. Is that you have these bells and dinks in here that I kind of think are probably good. Like having a circle here hits the strong percussion. It makes maybe a little bit more sense why there would be a break, a pause. So I could see something like this. And then this would probably want to be a slider to fill in the rhythm. I can do this. Yeah. Anyway, so why this spacing is that because this kind of anti-jump, where we're using very small spacing to represent a 1-1 gap in the rhythm. By 1-1, I mean a beat that is 1 beat apart as opposed to necessarily a half beat or a fourth beat. So is that these anti-jumps work a little bit better when there's an increase in intensity. So that way the player wants a rest or expects a rest after the increased intensity of the jump, which makes this a little bit more easy to read. And then of course I would need to, in order to make this pattern work, make something more reasonable. Again, I don't agree with this fuller structure, I just want to, make the distance at least somewhat reasonable. Okay, so something was fishy here and I couldn't pick it out, but I think this note is strong. This white tick right here is probably strong, probably wants a clickable object. Like, if you control G this rhythm, so now there's a circle here, which is important, and then you put the slider there. So I'd have to, do something like that. And that also sets you up to consider you going with the drum here. So a lot of mappers would probably do that. Though again, this is the insane. I'm not sure exactly what your intensity level is for streams and whatnot, but it's important to at least acknowledge that this drum track exists and consider which one you would rather go with. I could see this being a defensible line of your rhythm, but as long as it's very intentional what you're doing. Yeah, so the same kind of thing here is that there's just like this really strong drum pattern that people are probably would prefer to map. What I mean by that is that I could see a lot of mappers choosing this one and not so much as a rhythm like this. I do Me personally, I think both of these rhythms are okay, depending on what you're going for and what difficulty you're going for. But filling in with this slider is just a little bit nicer to keep the rhythm and at least acknowledges that there's something a little bit going on in this red tick. But again, you could also just go for the you could just go for this drum pattern, and in doing so, you might need to reconsider some of the patterns before. Thinking whether this should be a slider or not. Might be good as a slider. Depends on if this is a slider. I could see this not being a slider. Probably not a good idea. Probably better to fill this in with a slider. But I don't know. I should probably test some more. Probably better as a slider. Okay, so again, here, think about what's going on in the background, not just with the singer, and that will help you out. So you do have a strong note here, but then there's this like little chirp right here. Dun, 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 dun. So it might be good to like, for instance, you could emphasize this with a certain angle or a certain distance spacing, but this would get a strong note. And then you could fill it in with a smaller, weak kind of pattern here. Not that one, but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. So this kind of acknowledges that there's a beat here and a beat here, and then you could do the same type of thing here. And then again, this note is strong. Like even though it's not the singer's note, like there's some strong note here that you can really get value out of, even though that's not, and you're not losing much. There's no cost in putting this here. I guess there's a cost in that. This is a different type of. I don't like this, by the way. This needs to change. This needs to be 2 circles. Again, there's a drum beat here. I know you're going with the singer a lot, but it's nice to consider whether you want to include that drum beat or not. Dun 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 dun, something like that. Just because the music is really soft here, might be nicer to focus on something that's not as strong. I don't know.